Boom, guys, listen, we're back and we're talking about how to build a personal brand. Let's just jump straight into it, okay? What is a personal brand? Now, personal brand is not content creation. It's not being an influencer. It's not just cool pictures online. A lot of people get this stuff wrong, right? Because they might look at someone and look at themselves and be like, yeah, this is a personal brand. But in reality, they might just be doing some of this, right? A personal brand has underlying message and values that resonates with an audience, essentially. So you got to focus on the word brand here. Brand power. That's what it is. So we're going to get into that. But this is the key, right? Having the brand part of it sorted to keep audience engaged, audience retention, and crucial to make it evergreen and adaptable. I'm going to explain that in a second. Now, the goal with a personal brand is to make something that builds a lot of trust, just like a brand, okay? And it's not about just selling or speaking about something, and it's something that's timeless and gets us through doors we couldn't open previously, whatever door that is, okay? So this is crucial for girls, for connections, for money, for jobs, everything, okay? That's all the doors we can open with this stuff. Collaborations, I've done plenty of collaborations. I've been in the US, collaborated with YouTube influencers, done stuff, done challenges, stuff like that. This stuff is important. If you guys want to do stuff like that, you're sitting out there and you're like, how can I do stuff like this? This is the key. How do we go about doing that? How do we go about starting on this journey of personal branding and creating a name for ourselves, right? Well, before I just break down how we do that, I'm going to tell you guys something that's called platform equivalence. The value of the audience is partly decided by platform and not just by content and who you are, right? And it is not decided by follower count. And this is crucial to understand because a lot of people, they get discouraged when they first start out about, oh, my follower count isn't this, my follower count isn't that. And the follower count does have an importance to some extent. That's why it's there in the first place. That's why it's that's why it's shown. But for example, right, people who use TikTok, how valuable are those people really, right? Because a lot of people like TikTok. This is why I don't use TikTok, right? They're on TikTok to cook their brains, right? That's why they're there. And so is that the people you want to have following you as a brand? And a good model to go by, which I'll figure it out, is kind of this, okay? So if you have 1,000 YouTube subscribers, that's 10,000 Instagram followers. And that's equivalent to 100,000 TikTok followers. That's essentially kind of the equivalence that I figured out through this, just by looking at the value. And in the value of it, it's kind of like, okay, how many collaborations can you get? How much money can you make of all this, right? But let's talk about Instagram, right? Instagram is the most important platform for this. Everyone is on Instagram. People sometimes make this, thing like, oh, I'm not on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you're only missing out. It's only missing out. Like, I don't want you to sit there and cook your brains on Reels, but getting into this stuff is valuable. Let me tell you. It's a business card for you. Being on Instagram. It's like showing your CV, a resume. I swear to God, you can probably go into some job. If you have a good personal brand, you don't even need a resume. You can show them your Instagram. It's like, you're hired. If it's a marketing job, you have a good Instagram, you're hired, right? You don't need a CV. Because this, marketing and marketing yourself, that shows through your personal branding, right? And the beauty about Instagram is that it strikes the perfect balance. Just like we talked about platform equivalence, Instagram is the perfect balance for what we want to do, right? What we want, the people we want in, we want girls, we want the networking opportunities, doors opening, people to connect with, we want people to see us, we want to grow, right? You have everything. Job opportunities, people coming to you, oh, you want to work for us, stuff like this, right? It's all on Instagram. This is the most important platform you have. I pulled up a chart for you guys who like statistics too. This is a chart of the user growth for Instagram, right? There's been no dips in it so far. So, it just shows how relevant the platform is, right? And it will continue to be that. We have improvements coming to how it looks, new features that coming in order to grow faster. So this is, no-brainer to start off. Now, the keys to a good Instagram, and I'll have plenty of videos on this, right? And details when it comes to this, right? This is my Instagram right now, right? There's stuff that could be better on this, but I'm trying to do some stuff, especially with the Reels here. But that's another story, right? I went to put Reels on the first page and stuff like that. But and that's all details, but there is a purpose behind it. Now, one of the keys to a good Instagram is a good profile picture, first and foremost. Now, this is, for example, a good profile picture. I think I have a good profile picture, or else I wouldn't have it, right? I would have something else if it wasn't good. Just like you should, if you're having a bad profile picture, you should have a good profile picture. So change that and stuff out. Key features, right? You see this, I might not see this, but it looks like we have a watch, we have some glass. It looks kind of like, luxury. Get the luxury vibes on there. Kind of like higher level vibes, right? You could have whatever. I mean, I could have this. So you see this, the one I'm in circle. I could have that, right? But it wouldn't give the vibe you probably wanted. So it kind of sets a standard for what you're trying to accomplish. Great pictures in general. Don't have pictures. I'm going to make a full video on this. Don't have pictures of you drunk. Don't post memes. Don't post memes. Don't have like a picture of just a meme. Don't post a reel of just a meme. Don't post other people's content. This is you, right? Personal. There's tons of pictures you shouldn't have. And every picture like sets a precedence for like what you're trying to accomplish and tell the story, trying to tell through your personal brand. So just be really like, every single picture there needs to be certain intent with posting a certain picture, okay? It's not random what you post when you're on this path of personal branding. Now, stories are also really important. Stories pop up here. They last for 24 hours. Really, really important to just showcase your life and stuff like that. If you want to post reels, reels are great for growth, but I've seen people grow without reels too. But I use them, and I think everyone should. Understanding your message, okay? When this is like why I wanted to underline the brand point, because every single thing you put out there, it should have a connection to an underlying message that you want to, get across. So it doesn't matter what that message is. It's all about making it congruent and consistent. Consistency is the name of the game, right? I have a whole other channel. I talk about the mindset tips from the military, everything I learned. If you want to learn about consistency and building a bulletproof mindset, you can go check that out. Link is in the description. So I'll give you guys a great example of what this is, right? Because it doesn't matter what the values and understand the messaging underneath is. It can be bad. It can be horrible. Case in point, a guy called HS Tiki Toki, right? I've heard of this guy. This guy, I mean, I don't know what it's like in real life, because a character, you can portray a certain character through all this, but he has, his whole personal brand is built off him being a complete degenerate, right? I think he crashed a car recently in the UK, and he fled to Dubai, and now he's like making content about that, right? That's not really, that's not something I resonate with, right? It's not really me. It might be you, it might not be me, but again, he might be playing a character, I don't know in real life, of course, but he's been like this for a long, long time. The way he's set up everything, right? And the character, if he's playing a character, it's consistent. It's congruent, especially when you flee a country because you drunk drive or whatever you did. But anyways, so the message doesn't need to be good. So if you don't want to come across with a good message, hey, feel free. Okay, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to tell you how it's done. So for me, I can tell you like the main message I want to get across from my Instagram, Notorious Nico: consistency and discipline, right? And I base that off the military experience, so it's very congruent, and it's always been consistent, right? Because I train a lot. It's very important to understand this, because that's one of the reasons that people stick around rather than just engage once, right? This is the difference between some influencer and content creator. They make some viral content that goes viral one time, and people don't, they see it, it's like, oh, okay, whatever, right? But when it comes to this, right, this is essentially why it creates a brand, because people want to self-identify with what you represent, right? And they do that by following you, liking your stuff, purchasing stuff like that, right? So we have Apple here, right? The brand of Apple is not about the MacBook Air, right? It's just about luxury, the luxury feel, and people, they want to be a part of that, and so they buy Apple products, right? The same with Nike and Adidas and all this stuff, right? Everything has a purpose for this. Do you think Nike just puts out some random shoes every now and then, right? They just like, oh, I'm just gonna put out some shoes, right? Because these are funny shoes. Do you think that they put out Harambe shoes? They put Harambe on just because Harambe is viral? No, they don't, right? There's underlying values and messaging in there, and the pair of sneakers or whatever, like I'm not a big consumer of this stuff. It needs to resonate with that. Everything is deliberate. Now, Instagram content. Let's talk about that. Posting just one type of reel is not a brand. That's just organic ads, essentially. It's a word of mine. You see a lot of people, like especially like coaches and stuff like that, they just have talking head videos. Talking head video is like me to like, are you someone who wants to, jerk off 5 times a day? Well, watch this video, right? Right? They say all this stuff. And it's only videos about that. It's this, right? Same thing all over, right? And they have the whole IG, and it's just their face and some text. This is how to generate ads. This is how to do this, right? This is how to generate this. This is how to generate that, right? And so people, when they see that, it's not really a brand behind it. You might have a gazillion followers, but if that's all you're having there, people don't really care about you, right? It's care about because all you have there is just organic ads. You're just advertising. Oh, DM me the word this, and I'll send it over. DM me the, right? So for content to become a brand, rather than just content or organic ads, essentially, it needs to be relatable and diversifying to a certain extent your content with the underlying values and message, intact is really important. Okay, so I'll just show. I have some screenshots here. I took a bit too many screenshots of this, right? Because you don't want just text upon footage, right? But for example, this is one that did really well, which is me talking about how people with pencil necks. Right? You don't want to have pencil neck, right? You want to have thick neck. Look nice and yoked. Used for general strength and stuff. And people, love that video, right? So I have some of those. I mixed in a lot of humor, right? That's kind of what I do. I have some of this. This is me cooking bread in Oman. Came to run an ultra marathon. Got a job making bread instead. If stuff like this is cool, just text over footage, you can do that. That works really well. A lot of people do that, but a lot of people do way too much of it. I see a lot of these people right now. We call it Instagram because these people can't stop sharing stories about this and that and this now about relationships. But they put their camera. They have the camera right here, right, and they put the camera up here, and they stare into the camera, and then they don't say anything. It's just some music, and then there's some text about if she doesn't pay half for the dinner or whatever, right? All this stuff, right? And that's all they post. All these videos. They're not really connected to you. They're just like the messaging itself. So you need to make mix it up a bit. And to engage the audience is very important when it comes to this, because you can post as much content as you want, but you want to show that you're with them on a journey here, and you're a representative for this message you want to get across. And so you do stories, you do polls, stickers inside those stories. And people, and here's a hack for you guys, I'll make a full video on stories too. When people engage with your stories get pushed. So when you're looking at Instagram, right, if you have more engagement, right, you see the stories that are here, closest to my profile picture, those stories are pushed there for a reason, okay? People find your stories more, easily, because people engage with it. So the stories get pushed up in the queue because you can scroll down, right? You can scroll down, and down here you find more stories of people, right? But that's not the first one to see. And if you want to be the first story that people see, then you want people to engage with it. It pushes it, boom, into the algo for some reason, right? So use stories, use stickers. I always use a gorilla sticker. With my gym photos and stuff on Instagram. It's great, especially now that I've shaved my head. I look like an absolute behemoth, right? So people like that, so they click the sticker, and so I've kind of 10x'd my story views just by doing that. So that's really huge for stories. Just tips on that. But responding to comments, it gets people to comment more, right? If you never respond to comments, people are okay, what the hell, right? They might be putting fire emojis in there, but you want to respond to some comments, not all the comments, because you want to have certain value. Okay, if they comment like this, maybe you can respond to that. It's important to engage with the people who follow you, right? So they stick around too. Now I want to touch briefly on YouTube, okay? Because YouTube can be a really big part of this. YouTube and how that works, how those resonate so well with each other. But YouTube is one of the best conversion tools right now, alongside the landing pages, because people get to consume much more of your content rather than just scrolling your reels or looking at your post for a certain amount of time. So YouTube being an extension of your Instagram can be a good thing. You can talk in stories, you can talk in reels, and that's for a certain amount of time, of course, right? And then you can have an extension of that into YouTube. If you're looking at the classical, you have a hook and a body for copywriting for a video, for example, right? Scripts. You can kind of see Instagram as the hook and YouTube as the body. Now the first steps to getting started, because there's a lot of information I can give you, a lot of this, a lot of that, right? But I'm always a fan of breaking it down into actionable steps. I do this for all the people who work with me. For anything, it's always what's the actionable steps? Let's not sit here with a lot of information and not know what to do exactly to the point. So The first steps, right, is to outline some of the values you have. Okay, the less the better. The less the better. If it's just like, okay, I want to do strength. Hey, I want to, this is my values. This is about that. It's not that important, but I would like, figure out the underlying values, because I was on a call with Mike Thurston and his videographer Louis Armstrong, right? And me and my friend were sitting there and they were talking, and Mike Thurston said something really interesting about before you post, double check that it aligns with what the values are of what you want to get across. So you double check that, right? And so if you want to double check that, have some standard at least for the values and the message you want to get across there. Okay? The less the better. You don't want a lot of this. Use your current account. So you want to get started with it. Do not make a new account. Don't do it, okay? There's very few exceptions. You're probably not a part of it. Do not do that. You use the same account you have. I don't care if it's your grandmother who follows you, your mom, your ex-girlfriend, your girlfriend. It does not matter. Okay, use your same account. Okay, you need to get past this pain point of, because it's I know this is difficult, right? If you first just starting out doing this stuff, it can be difficult, putting yourself out there. It doesn't have to be like this big leap, but don't make a new account. Now, make your profile public too. There's no point in doing this with a private profile. It doesn't work. Okay, you already know that. And to get past the resistance of posting stuff, you can start with stories. Stories are great. This is how I got started. Okay, I started putting pictures. You start by just posting pictures. It's very safe because it's like 24 hours, it's gone, and you can always delete it if it's a problem. But I say this to people: nothing happens until you press share. Nothing happens. A lot of people like to make this point of, oh, if you want to get better at talking on camera, you should just talk to yourself 100 times on camera. Do reps, right? Set up your camera on a tripod and just sit there and talk. No, wrong. If you do it once and you press share, what happens? You get better. It's very simple. Just doing this in vanity, like just sitting here talking to camera, like trying to get better like this. Hey, try sharing it instead. And you don't have to make 100 videos. You have to make one and press share. It can be scary. But if you just go by this, of starting out real small, posting a story. You don't even have to post yourself. You can just post a random picture. Click, boom. Maybe put some thoughts on there. What you're thinking. Right now, I'm craving a burger. Whatever it is. Post it. Press the share button. It starts with that. So that's what I would do. Make the post, I'm craving a burger right now, and then, or whatever text. Then make a carousel with pictures. And then you caption it, life lately, or something along those lines. It's very simple, okay? I want to make this as simple as for you as possible. So all these pictures that you're putting out, I'll have a video on carousel, so you can watch that. But just put pictures from lately. I'll say this briefly. The first picture is of you. You do not need to be staring directly at the camera. It can be you, on a motorbike, whatever. Then the next two pictures are pictures of anything else, right? You can take a picture of your wallet on the table like this, boom. And I'll make a full video on this stuff, right? Then you have two pictures of that, of your wallet, or maybe some food. And then you have another picture of you. Perhaps, maybe put some girls in there if you want. Not holding hands, but maybe they're in there, just doing something. Chilling on the couch, whatever. And then you can put some more picture of you. And then you have a good carousel. And it can be from lately or it can be from way back. You just put it in life lately. Okay? That's a really good carousel to get started with. And that's pictures that you already have, most likely, so you don't have to go out there and do any extra effort in order to get started with this. And if you want to take the next step, you don't even have to show your face, because again, the most important thing is to press the share button. It's not about showing your face, it's not about talking on camera, it's pressing your share button, right? That will come with time, the confidence of this. So if you want to post reels, you don't have to. If this is a big resistance point, don't do it, okay? Focus on the other steps. But if you find that to be easy, and you go ahead and act on the action plan that I've given you now, then do this as well. Reels with just text on top of footage. So you can find a video of you boxing, whatever. For example, you're out running, you're jumping in the pool, and you can put text on it. Whatever text that is. Because this is personal branding. So your thoughts, your ideas, your values, that's what people resonate with, and they follow you in order for you to maybe give them some guidance on their path. So that's really what I would tell you to do for the first steps. And with that, you should be well on your way to getting started with, personal branding. And this is, I might not have mentioned this, but I'm going to mention this now. I wanted to touch on this point. Evergreen and adaptable. Once you get started with this, once you act on the action plan that I've given you, once you, build some momentum with this, and you gain a following, you don't need a big, that much of a following, like I said, platform equivalence, right? Then personal brand is so evergreen and it's so adaptable, which means that unlike a content creator, unlike some influencer, right, they have to talk about certain topics, they have to stick to a certain niche about something. You don't, because you people come in, right, because of the values and the way you're like, right, and then people follow you for you. And so once you transitioned from like talking about fitness all the time to talking about crypto and fitness, and then talking about crypto all the time, you will still have people with you on that path. So you can talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, and it's not like you have to stick to certain things for a certain amount of time or anything. So let's say I can make 2 stories in a day talking about what do I think about Bitcoin, what about crypto, right? And people will like that. They would think that it's interesting, right? Just hearing my thoughts on it, because I've engaged people for way over a year now, and so it adapts with time. So if you want to get into like monetizing this, which is of course a really good goal, then it's not set to a certain like thing you have to talk about and sell. You can always change and pivot and move around. This is why this is so good. This is why this is the thing that everyone is doing right now, because instead of just being bound to one thing, you can be bound to everything or anything. But they start with this, building a personal brand. And if you want more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like the video, and comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for all the videos, stuff you want to see. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care and God bless. Boom!